Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley and this is video log number 50. In this video log I'm going to discuss Dustin from Smarter Every Day, who I love. He's an honest, hard-working American family guy, everything you could want in a bloke, good, genuine, honest guy. However, like a lot of people who cover the topic he does, and the topic he does is science in general terms. He also crosses over into NASA territory. They show him around, the neutral buoyancy lab and things of that nature. So he's quite privileged in some of the stuff he gets to see, but he's in no way, in any way, conscious of the fact that the Earth is flat, as far as I'm concerned, and that makes me smile, especially when he puts out pieces that he did yesterday. So he's done a piece on a new light for the third world, if you want to call it that, called the gravity light. And what piqued my interest was the word gravity used next to the word light, so I immediately clicked on it, having not watched any of his videos for a long time. Now, the last time I referenced this guy, or Smarter Every Day YouTube channel, was in response to one of the trolls, and this particular troll made a video in a car where he tosses a rock up and down in the car. Now, a car is a closed system when it's travelling at speed, and the air is travelling along with the car, in the same way they'd like to convince us that the air on our globe, which is spinning, is travelling along with the Earth. Obviously that's a complete nonsense, and Smarter Every Day did a really good example of showing the different densities of, for example, a helium balloon. So as you accelerate in a car, a helium balloon will be forced forward as the air is moved backwards. But obviously once it reaches a stable point, that no longer applies. The balloon will return to its original spot. And you can do the opposite by having something that's much more dense than the air, like a pendulum. So obviously as you accelerate, the pendulum is forced back. So it's one of those that he's a great guy to use as reference. And then you see him using this gravity light, which explains the principles of potential energy and its release. Now, my grandfather, rest his soul, was a clockmaker. That's what he did. In the war, he was driving an ambulance because he was a Christian and abstained, and therefore was on the battlefields, literally on no man's land, driving an ambulance. But his career was a clockmaker, and for years and years and years he would fix people's watches, and there would always be tons of grandfather clocks and alike around his house in pieces with him fixing them. So the system of releasing potential energy is very well known to us and has sod all to do with the fake nonsense that is gravity. So it's really interesting to see how a company like Shell will label an excellent tool. I mean, I'm not knocking what they're doing. It's a fantastic idea. I'm just knocking the name. To call it the gravity light, it's just another way of perpetuating the lie. It's just another way of convincing us we're on a spinning ball with something that's being marketed to the third world. So it tugs on your heartstrings. It's a good product. It's a good principle, and everything about what they're doing is, big thumbs up to Shell. But by the same token, they've called it the gravity light. If you didn't laugh about this stuff, you'd be tossing, rocks at the screen in anger. So you kind of have to laugh about the way they label stuff. But it just highlights to us yet another way of programming us with the idea that we're on a globe through a nice scientific term, gravity. And you get a guy like Dustin to do this on a show like Smarter Every Day, which is unbelievably popular and with good reason. He's a good researcher, he does a good job. It's just a shame he doesn't know the Earth's flat. He doesn't know that gravity isn't needed. And in his explanations, I'll put a link to his video in the description below. But in all of his explanations, not once does he allude to where gravity comes in. He just explains how potential energy is released using a gearing mechanism. So, it would have been nice if he'd have thrown in something to do with gravity, but alas, it was completely devoid of any explanation whatsoever for gravity and every plausible explanation that you could ever need for the release of potential energy. So thank you very much to Smarter Every Day for giving us yet another globular lie. But unfortunately, it doesn't need gravity. It's just not needed. And why isn't it needed? Because the Earth's flat. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all hopefully in the live chat for my show with Patricia Steer at 9 p.m. tonight. See you there.